Ultimately, I realize, and I literally bounce out of bed every morning knowing that if I could help just one person to understand what it means if they transform their energy level, what it means to them, right? What it means to each of you, and how that will show up in your life, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, your relationships, your career, your finances, creativity. And ultimately what we're doing is shifting consciousness, individual consciousness. And by shifting our individual consciousness, we're having a positive impact on global human consciousness. Right? When Gandhi said, "Be the change that you want to see in the world," I believe he was talking about an energetic being. Right? We see a world out there that we don't like. Sitting at home on the couch, watching TV, complaining about it, is likely the least likely way of bringing about positive change. And this being energy doesn't mean we're not going to protest, but if we do protest, if we do speak out, it'll be from a place of very high vibration, which is not fighting, it's not combating, it's not making someone else wrong, it's simply posing a different option, a different way of being, a different way of doing, a different way of interacting with each other, where we stop hoarding our resources and we start openly and freely sharing, right? Where we stop hating and judging and we start respecting and honoring and blessing and truly get to the point where we can love each other. And from that place, the thought of violence isn't even on the menu, let alone murder or killing or war. So yes, source energy medicine was rooted in helping people to transform our physical aspect of our being. But ultimately, what I realize is we're bringing about positive shifts globally by individual healing, shifting my consciousness, which has a positive impact on global human consciousness. In Dr. Hawkins' statistic that 87% of the human population calibrates below 200, the reason why that 87%, that over 6.5 billion people haven't destroyed the planet so far is because the 13% of the human population that calibrates above 200 can actually counterbalance and help to somewhat neutralize that. With each of us who transforms our energy level from below 200 to above 200, we're not far from just counterbalancing, but outweighing. And then it'll not be outweighing, but it will be, you know, the scales will be tipped to the point where there can be no more darkness on the planet. The darkness will either come along or it'll go away. And it feels to me like that day is so within reach. I know that I will see it in my lifetime, and I hope you're there with me. It feels so close at hand. And I love making vision statements and mission statements and goals and 1-year goals and 3-year goals and 5-year goals and 10-year goals. My ultimate long-term goal for source energy medicine is no source energy medicine. By that I mean we run out of potential people to help. That means that everyone's at their ideal energy level. They have no resistance. They have complete allowance. They're experiencing well-being in every aspect of life. And that day will be my happiest day. My happiest day will be literally shutting down our website, because I know there's no one else that we can help. There will be no one else who would benefit from source energy medicine. And by each of us who takes this journey, who embarks upon this journey, and is bold enough to transform our energy level, we're helping to create that future. And what we're experiencing in terms of positive results today is infinitely faster than when we began in 2004. And the reason why I know that that is true is Rupert Sheldrake theorized that there is an energetic form that he called morphogenic fields, also known as morphic fields. And the best example that I can offer that helps me to understand or explain a morphogenic field is the 4-minute mile. There was a time not too long ago when the Olympic physicians believed, the belief was so strong that these physicians were telling the elite athletes of the time that if you continue to try and beat the 4-minute mile, you will die. Talk about a strong belief, strong paradigm. These are the Olympic physicians, right? So Roger Bannister, an elite runner, and a small handful of other elite runners, they chose to not listen to the advice of the Olympic physicians, and Roger certainly ran a different race than most other runners at the time. But the thing that stands out about Roger is he had this knowing. It wasn't a belief, it wasn't a hope, it was this knowing that he could run a mile faster than 4 minutes. And you can actually watch it on YouTube. It's so inspirational. It really, I get goosebumps on my bones just thinking about watching the video. And one day, Roger ran a mile faster than 4 minutes. So Rupert Sheldrake's theory is that the potential or the morphic field to run a 4-minute mile was there, except it was very, very, very small. And when Roger actually created that as a reality, that morphic field grew. It was as if he breathed life into it. Now, within very short order, there were 3 or 4 other runners who ran a mile faster than 4 minutes because Roger showed them that they could. So they had a shift in their belief. These days, if you're a miler, if you don't run a mile faster than 4 minutes, even in college, they hand you a javelin or send you to the soccer field, right? So it's like, you know, go do another sport because this isn't your thing, right? And not too many years later. So now we have not only a belief, but it's an expectation that if you're going to be a miler, you know, and there's, of course, a new world record, right? So with each person who broke the 4-minute mile, that morphic field expanded, it grew. And now it's so large that potential and that possibility to run a 4-minute mile is so well within reach, right? Does that make sense? So in the beginning of source energy medicine, the potential of source energy medicine was there, and I believe that's how it came about. And then as I developed it and started testing it and experimenting with it through our research and development and sharing it with colleagues, that morphic field grew slowly in the beginning. And that was in 2003, 2004. Here we are, 2017, and daily our morphic field grows. And now we're at the point where our growth isn't linear, our growth is exponential.